So, is it possible to fix a deep scratch in the paint of your car, even if you're not a professional and you don't have professional equipment? Well, in this video, that's what we're going to find out. It's coming up in 3, 2, 1. I know I look like Jethro Bodine in Beverly Hillbillies, but because of, well, whatever. Anyway, hi, my name is Sweet Pete, and I live in Montreal, Canada. And we have to use these snow brushes to remove the snow from our cars during the winter months. And I didn't notice, but there's a screw here just at the bottom, and it became loose, and it was sticking out about half an inch. And when I did notice, it was too late. I had already caused deep scratches in the paint of the mirrors of my Honda CR-V. And so, looking at that, I was thinking to myself, can this be repaired? Well, this is why I made this video. So, how did I go about it? Disclaimer. I tried to fix this with my buddy Claude, and neither of us are professionals in any way or highly qualified. Just two buddies who like to detail their own cars, and we figured that the mirrors were pretty much ruined anyway, so why not try to fix them and see if we can come up with a fix. And if we didn't, well, we had to replace them anyway. So stick around till the end of the video. I'll be able to tell you what kind of results we got, and are we satisfied, and also what products did we use. So the first thing we had to do was to clean the surfaces, and we didn't want the product to leave any kind of residue on those mirrors. So we used a product called Wipeout from Chemical Guys. So by the way, this video is not sponsored by anybody. We paid all these products with our own money, and nothing was sent, no exchange of money was done in any way. So we cleaned the surfaces, and then we did a little inspection and noticed that the scratches were quite deep. And what we did to start with is we used 1500 grit sandpaper, and we sanded the edges of the scratches so that we could break them a little bit so that our new paint would be able to adhere. Because our plan was to build paint inside the scratches so that it would try to even out the surface. So at this point, it's important for me to tell you that if you're going to attempt some kind of a project like this and you have some scratches on your car you want to fix, it's important that you manage your expectations. If you get hit by a hockey stick in the face and you have an open wound and it's going to need some stitches, even if your surgeon is a highly skilled professional, it's going to leave some kind of a scar. Some are bigger than others, but there's going to be a mark there. It's the same thing with the paint. You've damaged the surface of the vehicle, and we're going to try to fix it the best we can. In our case, we were hoping for about an 80 or 90% improvement. So at the end of the video, you're going to be able to see, did we reach our expectations? Were we a little bit under, a little bit over? We're going to see that in a few minutes. So after our first pass of sanding, it was time to apply the touch-up paint. So what we did is we used a little plastic lid, and we poured some touch-up paint inside of the lid, and we used a toothpick so we'd have a fine point, and we used the toothpick as a brush to apply the paint inside of the scratches. It's a delicate operation, and patience is key. So we allowed about a 30-minute dry time for the paint, and once the paint was hardened, we placed some tapes to limit our space where we're going to sand. This time we used a 2000 grit sandpaper, and we sanded the surfaces, and there were even places where there were scratches where we had not put any touch-up paint because the scratches were not really that deep. So we sanded those scratches also. And again, a delicate operation. Patience is key. You take your time and use good lighting. We installed some lights. I had a headlight, and we had good lighting and sanded the surfaces the best we can. So after sanding our surfaces with the 2000 grit sandpaper, it was time to apply the clear coat that was supplied in our kit. So we applied this to all the surfaces we had sanded, and we gave it a 1 hour drying time, even if in the kit it mentioned that it needed at least 30 minutes. After this drying time, we then re-sanded the surfaces with 2000 grit sandpaper first, and then after that we used 3000 grit sandpaper to remove the scratches caused by the 2000 grit. So it's always a process of sanding down the scratches that you caused. So at first you go to the big ones, and then you go to smaller scratches. And every time we do that, we increase a little bit the size of the area that we're sanding. So it's sort of like blends in where with the surfaces that have not been touched yet. Okay, so now it's time to remove the scratches caused by the 3000 grit sandpaper. So to do that, we're starting to use some compound. We have Chemical Guy products. Again, no advertisement in any kind. We're using number 32 cutting compound, and we're using an orange disc on Adams dual action polisher. And this first pass is to remove those scratches caused by that sandpaper. So actually it's not like one single pass. Unfortunately, we weren't able to film during this process. But what we did is we passed in a hash pattern, so going laterally and then forward and back, and then laterally and forward and back. And we did about 4 passes on each of the mirrors. After our first cutting compound, we used this time a number 34 compound, which is less grit inside of the cream, and we use the green cutting disc. So we're going slowly towards the polishing phase. After doing the 34 grit, we stepped down to a 36 grit and did again a hash pattern. And at this point, we can see that we're getting out of the compound phase and going into the polishing phase, and the surfaces are starting to really pop out, and the color is starting to look really nice. To finish up our job, we used the number 38 polish, and this time we used a red disc, and we finished off with a glaze on the paint because we wanted to protect the mirrors temporarily. We don't want to protect them too much because we are going to do a ceramic coating on this vehicle. I will be doing a video on that. It's coming up, so be sure to stay in touch. Give it a like, and come and have a look. Subscribe to the channel if you want. You'll be able to see in a week or two we're going to do the process of doing a ceramic coating on this particular vehicle. In closing, are we satisfied with our job? We talked about managing expectations, and I think we achieved about a 75% improvement on these mirrors. I think they look great. I think most people would not notice that they were scratched. You have to really look closely to see the scratches. I'm very satisfied. Could we have done a better job? At the time, no, but now with our newly acquired experience, I think that we should have allowed a little bit more drying time to the paint and the clear coat. We should have built up the paint inside some of the scratches a little bit more, so that it would be protruding a little bit, so that when we sand it, we can get it to an evener surface. We were a little scared. It's our first time. We don't want to, less is more, is what we were thinking. But if I had to do it again, I would apply a little bit more paint, maybe another pass of paint after the first drying time, another shot of paint, and then a final sanding. And then after the clear coat, I would have allowed more drying time there, and maybe not sand the clear coat. I would have, if I was to do it again, I would have sanded 2000 grit, then 3000 grit, then applied the clear coat, let it dry for a good period of time, maybe a couple of hours, and then after that I would use only the compound and the polishing creams with the different discs to even out the surfaces of the clear coat, because I feel that when we sanded the clear coat with the 3000 compound, we removed too much of the newly applied clear coat. It would be better, I think, to leave it a little bit longer and to use only the compound to make that pop out. In a future test, I'm going to try something a little bit different. But am I satisfied with what we've done? Absolutely. If you do it step by step and a little bit at a time, I don't think you can ruin it more than it already is if it's damaged. And, again, patience is key. Less is more. Do it a little bit at a time, and you get to pretty good results. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Coming up will be ceramic coating, all the steps. It was nice to be in your company. Bye.